What's wapa? You just got your run errands, picking up wedding dresses. Wapa!
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
You're now listening to Cutmaster Cast.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another round of the Cutmaster Cast. My name is Chris Romero.
And my name is Tony Pacheco. What's up, everybody?
What's up, you guys? And we are DJs out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we want to thank you for joining us for episode number 53.
53.
Yep, season 2, number 53. And on this pod, we like to explore our weekly events, wedding industry tips and hacks. And at the end of every episode, on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere except for Facebook and
video. You can't watch this part.
That's right. We take it back to the music.
Yeah.
So, and today we're going to have a little bit of fun. So if you want to go and listen on Spotify, we're going to be cutting it up a little bit with Stemology.
Stemology, some stem cuttings. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's cool because we try and stump each other with these different songs. And I feel like I tried to make sure you knew these tracks, but as well as like try to stump you too. So I'm excited for that.
And so the first time we did this, I went with the 2000s.
Nice.
But today I'm going old school on you.
Nice,
so
nice.
Stay tuned. Okay, so we like to start off every episode talking about our weekly events, and I'm going to keep this one short and sweet because I had another week. Actually, I don't think I have anything until April 27th.
Dang.
Yeah, like I'm on a big stretch here
Yeah.
of this is where I like to work on the business since I'm not in the business.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This is the good time to start thinking about operations, maybe revamping the website. We're doing a bunch of stuff on the back end where we're talking about, like, is this the best way to lay out our packages, right? We're really diving into the website around this time just to make sure that our customers are really understanding what's being said. And we'll dive in more into that into the topic. But yeah, this is that perfect time for that.
Yeah, and actually, talking about working in the business, and this is probably for a later episode, I definitely want to bring in at some point Matt Radicelli, who shout out to Mentor Pods, all right?
Shout out.
That's why I've been really deep diving into the business, and we'll talk about some things that we've been doing and implementing and just looking more into, but it's all due to this. I joined Mentor Pods this year, and for you wedding vendors out there, this could be anybody, any vertical in the wedding industry, venues, florists, planners.
I think their next one is centered around planners, right?
The next pod number 8, has venues. I think maybe some planners and a couple of a few DJs.
Yeah,
but they're really getting more venue focused with that one.
Nice.
So if you want any more information, hit me up in the DMs and I'm definitely going to bring Matt Radicelli on. He's going to join us on this pod at some point and do a little bit deeper dive into it. I wanted to get started with Mentor Pods and be into the thick of it a little bit, so I would have a little bit more content to talk about.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
But I want to bring him on, and he's said that he wants to come on and join us. So
love it.
That'll be cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what events did you have anything?
I was at Marble West Side.
The West Side?
The West Side, West Side best. No, I'm just kidding. I love the West Side. It's a really cool space. It's a different kind of venue, a lot more kickback, chill kind of vibe. But what's cool about that is you can experiment. And in that kind of space, you can really kind of dive into playing different types of edits and making sure you're just kind of keeping the vibes right as opposed to like making people dance. People are there for like a pregame. People often are off of work with their kids and family on the West Side, and so it's a very different setting as opposed to even the Heights.
Is there anything that you can think of offhand that you're kind of exploring with music wise, like when you were there this past week?
I
tried out.
Yeah. I really love exploring with like 80s dance music as well as country and like seeing where those go. Right, like I've been doing this really cool edit of Every Breath You Take with that Celine Dion edit, and I've been playing it only in certain spaces because it's not really danceable. It's good for maybe a cocktail hour, right? But like that's been really fun to experiment with. And then with the new controller that I just recently got, all the stems and all the cool different things, the bells and whistles, those are really cool.
Right.
I'd say like the biggest thing that I would experiment with would be just mashing up different songs and layering them in terms of like lyrics over certain backbeats and then just being like, oh my gosh, I need to write this one down.
We've got some new music coming out.
Yeah.
I know Timberlake just dropped his new album.
Beyonce's comes out
Beyonce on Friday, right?
tonight, tomorrow.
Yeah,
however you want to look at it.
right.
10 p.m. tonight.
That's right. Yeah. So that one,
Crazy.
I was watching Spinelli's show earlier this week, and he went through
Some good stuff.
what's coming out.
I think the Morgan Wallen Post Malone singles should be out soon, or if it's not out already.
Okay.
So a lot of good stuff on the horizon. I think it's going to be a good year for music. you
Yeah,
know?
I'm interested to
Sometimes-
see what Beyonce's album like. Is it
She
going to be
released
country? Is it going to be pop? Is it going to be?
She released the track list, and it's a lot of country artists, and it's interesting how it's a lot centered around the culture versus like the just a music track list, right?
Right.
But the future Metro Boomin album, if you're into that stuff too, that was insane.
I saw that.
Over the past weekend, Kendrick Lamar dropped an amazing verse over that, and it was just, he's talking about he's the GOAT rapper. Everybody's like, what is it, the big three? Nah, it's just the big me or something like that, right? And so it's always Kendrick stirring up the pot on who's the best. And
Throwing some shade out there. Huh?
yeah, exactly. So for all the rap heads out there, future Metro Boomin, that was a big one. Came out this weekend.
Cool. Nice.
So yeah, it was cool, chill. Oh, I saw Mark Norman for stand-up comedy on Saturday. That was cool.
How was that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Any
My first-
takeaways from that, like going to a comedy show?
They're fun. They're a cool place to just kind of let loose, and it's interesting to see somebody just on a stage and work a stage just kind of free flowing. And what I liked about him is he did his act for about 40 minutes, and then for the last 20, he was like, "What's going on? What's up with these topics?" And they were like talking about all the relevant things in the news, and he was just kind of bantering off of that, and it was really good because he was just quick-witted, and that's always fun.
That's cool. I know one of the things I've always thought about, I've never done, but is doing like a improv class, right?
Sure.
When you're trying as an MC to improve your craft, and I've seen there's a lot of people that have talked about this in our industry, like taking improv and doing that sort of thing. I mean, we used to have Sarah Kennedy used to be part of the crew here with us at Cutmaster, and then she went big time and went and started up her own comedy club. She's awesome.
Running the
Shout outs to
comedy.
Sarah.
I see her DJing at Red Door, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Sarah, get it.
She's a great DJ. The very first time I ever saw her on the microphone for us, I was like so blown away.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
She's funny.
She's a natural. Yeah. So Sarah's super cool. Go see her if you get to get a chance to go see Sarah.
Dry Heat Comedy Club.
Yeah.
It's over here off Central and maybe...
I think they might have moved.
I don't even know where it is.
So I saw something just recently, her post that they were... I think a new spot might be opening up or is
Nice.
opening up.
Keep up to it.
Because
Google
she
it,
mentioned the
Facebook.
original. She's
Yeah.
like the old Dry Heat place. So keep an eye out.
Nice. Yeah, well, keep an eye. Dry Heat Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Shout out Sarah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna move into our topic for today,
Mm-hmm.
and Tony is gonna take and lead this discussion here because he did the
It's called the Wedding Summit series, and so they do a bunch of different ones. What was cool about it was you were in Mentor Pods. Radicelli had done a section in it, a keynote,
Right.
and you were like, you should check out this summit series. You can sign up. It's free. It's really cool because they just give you all these different sales techniques. They gave us
it was like an online
pretty much
show, right?
Yeah, an
Like
online a wedding MBA kind of, but really dialed in on sales. That was cool because it wasn't like on a wedding MBA. There's so many different options that you can choose, and you can often be overwhelmed on which ones you want to go to. Right. This one it was 3 days. You pretty much could do it at your own pace, but there was like 6 to 8 videos that were about a half hour to an hour long, depending, and they dive into all these different topics about sales techniques, how like buyers are buying these days, and just different ways to help you get more sales and more bookings for clients and couples.
Okay.
So yeah, this one. Let me see. I wrote down a nice.
So Tony's gonna take us through. He went. I mean, how many days was this?
It was 3 days.
Oh, so 3 days.
God
So
bless.
Tony locked himself in his room for 3 days.
Pretty
watched
much.
all of these seminars. I haven't seen any of them. I didn't get a chance to watch.
You're
them.
all right. There's out of the 26, there was about 12 to 14 that really hit for us. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And there's some that you're like, okay, this doesn't apply to me at all.
Right.
But you got to watch them. And so it's cool because so for those of you who are out there, the Wedding Summit series, you can sign up for it. It's free. And then you can pay for it to have access to it later, have access to the videos, all this different stuff. But if you lock in, pay attention, and just watch it when it's available, it's all free. So it's really nice because you're getting access to these amazing resources. Somebody like Matt Redicelli for free,
Right.
You know what I mean? And so just having access to it is really, really cool. But it's a conference that it focuses on single topics, but they do different things like design, marketing, business growth, client experiences, and then sales, which is what we're going to talk about today. And it was cool because it was like their 10th event, so it was like a big old ordeal. But what I liked about the sales edition was that it just did a good job at talking on different techniques and really diving in on trends and just providing unique opportunities for people to just enhance their overall sales performances, right?
Okay.
So for me, there were 26 of the topics. Like I said, I'm going to go over 2 today. I'm going to really dive into 2. And then I was thinking maybe we could do a part 2, a part 3, because there's definitely a couple more that we could dive into.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this one was awesome. I liked this one, using buyer psychology to book more weddings. So this one, let me pull up the buyer psychology. It was by Andrea Shaw. She's awesome. She has a really cool just background in overall just like psychology and what it means to like make a sale. And it was cool to like hear her talk. But what I liked about her is she really did a good job at like trying to help us understand that we're not just trying to Jedi mind trick people into buying us, right? Like you will buy, and it's not. That's not the idea with
You will buy from me.
That's not buyer psychology. What it is it's understanding how your brain processes, filters, and organizes information, and figuring out how buyers really take that information and use it to make a decision to buy, right? And so a fact is, as humans are very unique, right? We're all unique, we're all different, but their brains often handle information the same way. So it's really cool to understand, like, if you can hit these key points that they talk about, you can have a good generalization on making sure you have a clear understanding of what you're selling, what you're buying, and just delivering your information in the best way possible. So they talked about key concepts for this in buyer psychology, and they talked about 6 common just kind of concepts when thinking about buyer psychology. And the first one was social proof. Now, social proof is using testimonials, reviews, using reviews on just getting different ways to get those reviews and making sure you're putting a little review on every page of your website, not just putting it on the bottom of your main page, right? When they go to somewhere else on your About Me page, on the lighting page, packages, right? Talk about that. Use those reviews to enhance your lighting or your overall experience as the photographer, or like making sure you're placing the reviews on multiple pages and not just one.
You know, and I guess it would make sense that if you are using multiple reviews throughout, to also go a step further and make it relevant, right? So like you just said, like if you're talking about enhancements and lighting, use a review where they mention, we loved the lighting that Cutmaster used, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another one was Google My Business page. We talk about the Google profile page all the time.
Oh, yeah.
The thing with Google is people trust Google. There's so many different things about Yelp and all these different ones, but as an overall whole, we really do trust Google.
Google is the authority.
It's
Mr. Google.
Mr. Google. And if you're getting people to review you on your Google website, it's only going to help you for SEO and all of this stuff.
I've always said, I mean, in this,
it's easily one of the best ones.
Even in other industries, right?
In any industry.
My company for real estate, they really harp on using this other third party. It's called like Listen 360 or something like that. And I just wonder if anybody ever sees those reviews, ever, like outside of our own company. So I've always been told, I've actually gone to Mr. Google's house at
the
Google headquarters. I've been invited twice, all right? And Cutmaster Music has been invited to these summits basically at Google. I was in Palo Alto in California. And they've always talked about reviews and keeping your My Google profile up to date and doing stuff on there. Think about it. We all have websites, right? But where do they go to find your website?
Yeah, Google.
And Google has made it to where they really want you to stay on Google. So now you don't even need to go to my website to get information about our company.
It's true.
They have that section, the profile section on the very right-hand side. It's that real estate, right? Where they can find your business, about your business. You can see pictures of us.
Yep.
You can see posts.
Yeah.
Reviews. It's all right there. You don't even have to leave Google, and they're finding more and more people aren't even clicking through to the website. They're looking at that information and finding what they need.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little more in the next section, but people like ease, and they want their decision to be a little bit, they don't want to get confused in trying to find the information. They want it to be very natural and come very natural to them. So that means the less clicks, the better.
Do what Google says.
Yeah, for real. So another few quick reasons for social proof are like awards, but the big thing with awards is keep them fresh. If you don't have them within the last 2 to 3 years, they don't look as relevant.
You know what? It's funny.
If you've got an award from 2016, throw it away.
There's so many. There's people actually.
Just don't. I'm sorry.
I'm
but
throwing
it's
it out there. There's people locally in our market in Albuquerque. There's awards up there, and it's from like 2015, 2014, 2013.
We have a timestamp now.
It's literally
in our life.
pre-COVID,
and it just doesn't look as relevant. If you have,
honestly, it looks like you haven't updated your website since 2014.
One thing that was interesting was if you continually have it for like 6 years plus, don't say you've won it for 6 years. You've been the number one since 2016. So then they can process the information differently, but you're saying the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's how you present it to them. Other things like memberships, things like your local membership, like the Wedding Collective, or different things that establish your credibility. A lot of these places like require their businesses to have insurances to be a part of them or something.
Right.
So
building trust.
Right. It helps vet them a little bit more as opposed to just hiring a random vendor. And then maybe if you have something like as seen on TV, or if you're featured in magazines, mention that, right? We were a part of TLC's 4 Weddings,
That's right?
And we should use that more.
Yeah, baby.
Right? People don't know. I mean, yes, it may have been a little bit a while ago, but nobody cares what year it was aired. They care you were on TLC, right?
Absolutely.
And so,
you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because all these things it's making me think, right? Okay. How can we
featured on TLC?
We need to put that out on social. I don't think I made one post ever on Instagram, TikTok, or any of that.
Have you seen our episode on TLC?
We can literally go grab some. I mean, I don't know if we can use the footage or not, but
that's another thing they said is make sure you're using everything. If it's such a big company, you have all of the rights to use those things or their logos or whatever.
Right.
But if you're featured on it, it's great to ask and reach out to somebody because you have some kind of right to share it.
We need to figure out like what we can and can't use with it.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Or if you're featured in a magazine locally, nationally, tell people about that. They love that stuff. So
cool.
That's a good way to develop social proof.
I like it.
Now, the next one is called the paradox of choice, right? Now, this is kind of what I brought back to us. We want, as human beings, options, but we also don't want too many options. People don't want to be overwhelmed with all these different things, 6 different packages that they can choose from that have one difference in them, right? They just want to find what they need and get it taken care of because it gets too much. And it just can overwhelm the people, and it can often lead to decision paralysis where they don't know. You know what I mean?
It makes me think back to Steve Jobs when he created the iPhone, or even the iPod, I guess, even before the iPhone. And he basically told them, I mean, he made a product that said you're going to use it specifically in this way. Like there was no choice, right? Like there was a choice, like you could use different MP3 players or whatnot, but he was like, this is how you're going to shuffle or search for your music and things like that. And you're right. Somehow it made it easier and more simple. And that's why everybody went and bought that thing when it came out.
It organized it and made your music selection easier, right? And so, it's definitely a good way to think about it. And you just want to really simplify that process. You want to keep your package descriptions minimal, but you also want to make sure they're intentional. So the good way to think about it is it was mentioned in one of these, I can't remember which one, but it was the Goldilocks method, right? One is too hot, one is too cold, and one is just right. So a great way to explain that is you have 3 different price points. Your ideal one that you want every client to buy is your middle one, and you have one that's crazy expensive. that is like, okay, somebody
The moon shot, right?
the moonshot. There's a client out there who wants the moon, and it just might hit. You never know. And there's also people who are looking for maybe a lower price package. But then also too, if you find somebody in the middle, you can really dive into like honing them in on that price, and their eyes will go towards kind of that pricing, right?
Right.
And that's nice because it transitions into the next one, which is anchoring bias in pricing. So what I mean by that is, you set the tone with the price that you set at the very first. Whatever number you send them in the beginning is going to set the whole tone for the rest of your sales process, right? So the idea is humans filter new information through the info they already have. So if you give them a price point of $1,000 and then you're like, well, you need this and this, it's going to be 2,000. They're going to be like, whoa, what the heck? I can't even process 2,000 because I thought it was 1,000. But if you go at it on a way where if they look at it, and so if you, how did I write this? So if you show the outrageously pricier one first and then present a lower priced package, the customer suddenly sees the less expensive option as a bargain.
Right.
So if you can present them at packages starting at, we've been saying a lot of like our customers pay an average of, right?
I just updated our website last week.
Yeah.
And because we've been struggling with this for a while, and we found that people were coming to our website, and we actually had a starting at price. And so I know a lot of you guys are doing this out there, and you might be seeing this too. And we were getting a little bit of pushback on this because our starting at price, we do our pricing based on talent and then the package, right? That goes along with that talent. So we've got different tiers and price points for our different DJs, right? Mm-hmm. And we had the starting price at, for your most beginner tier DJ during the off season in like January, right? Which was like the lowest level of pricing that we could get.
Well, the idea
but it's not the most common price.
Yeah, and they see that, and that's what gets them in. That's the buyer psychology that we thought was working, was them seeing the lowest number and them being like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. Like,
you just have to get them in and then talk to me, and then we can sell them.
But we were finding that people were like, so
they're being anchored on that 20 on the lower one,
right? And they would come to us and say, well, how do I get the 1750 price, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we've got a Tuesday open in February,
exactly, right,
with a DJ that we think we're going to hire next week.
Yeah. And so with that, it felt like they weren't getting the proper information and not allowing them to make the decision properly when we were just trying to make sure that they.
I think your customers are kind of feeling duped, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so we decided, okay, we need to go and figure out what is our average price for the average client that comes in and package. Mm-hmm. And now that I put it on our website, the average price is between $3,000 and $4,000 depending on the package and and the DJ. But that is probably, I think, where our average lies, is somewhere. I would say 80% of our events are right in there.
Exactly. Yeah, and depending on like where you're at price wise, like these initial price starting at a higher price, I know it can be very scary. I totally understand that. But what it does is it acts as a filter for you to actually get the clients that you want, right? And if you're not at a level of experience where we're at and you need to start at a lower price point, by all means, please do. But deliver the highest point first and then go from there. And you can have a much better, more successful sales meeting as opposed to working from the ground up, then top down,
Right.
So then the next one was creating scarcity and urgency.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to just let them know about how important it is that these dates are going fast, and just letting them know how important it is to like articulate how many like of events you do a year. Put it in perspective for them, right? There's 52 weeks in a year, and I only take 30 a year, right? And so then that way you can be like, oh man, and maybe tell them like, what? And I'm already at 28. Right. I've already booked 28 weddings this year. I'm talking to another few couples, but like I only take 30 and I've only got 2 more, And so,
I also like to provide that, scarcity mindset, especially if somebody can't make a decision, right? Like you've reached out, you've had maybe a couple of meetings or email conversations, that sort of thing. and they're still on the fence for whatever reason, a lot of times I'll tell them, look, I just had an inquiry come in.
Yeah.
For your same date, I'm giving you first dibs. I'll give you till the end of the day to let me know.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times that just gets them to make, and I'm not trying to I don't want to rush you by any means, but man, I've given you a couple of months here already, right? Let's move on with this, or so that way we can move on as well and just completely free that up.
Exactly.
And
it's a positive way to increase demand. You're just kind of laying it out there in a way where you're being transparent and letting them know hey, these people are interested in your date. If you would like to book, let's go for it, right? But you're making it in a comfortable way to where you're not trying to be a sleazy salesperson.
Right. Many times, honestly, it's even the truth. This happened with us last week.
It does happen, but that's just the idea is you want to create urgency, and that is a good little trick of letting them know, hey, we have people who are interested in your date, and it's just helping them know, it's not always going to be there.
Right.
It can easily go.
There's only one Zia.
Exactly.
And we're working on cloning.
And it's hard because they are looking for a service. They are expecting to be sold, right? They understand that they are going to have some type of sales interaction and they're going to be sold some way. But if you can frame it in a way where you're actually just trying to help them and really benefit them and be there for them, as opposed to sign this check. I need you to sign the check, right? It's not about the money. It's about what we can provide as a service. So really creating that urgency, right? Now, the next one, we really buy into this a lot. It's storytelling in marketing, being the storyteller and having your client be the hero, right? Humans naturally love stories. They invoke emotion, and they can really help customers imagine themselves in a certain position, right? So if I love explaining the uplighting, when you go into a room, uplighting can transform a space from a ballroom into a wedding reception. They can visually see it, right? You want to touch on all of their senses, right? If you're a DJ, for us, we touch in on the sound. What's the vibe going to feel like when you walk into dinner? Is it going to be big band, Frank Sinatra, elegant, and then they can hear those songs in the back of their head and imagine themselves in those spaces, right? If you're a caterer, what's it going to smell like? What are you envisioning the food smelling like, right? Or a photographer, what are you going to see? What do you want us to see? What's the overall look? You can touch on these emotions and really kind of dive into their overall needs and then give it right back to them, right? Because if they're looking for a unique DJ or a unique photographer who's got a great eye, well, yeah, I can create those different looks, and then you can show photos so they can visually see those unique looks and put themselves in their shoes, you know?
And for those of you out there that want to get more into the storytelling aspect and how can I implement storytelling into our brand, go get Donald Miller's book, Story Branding. Mm-hmm. We've incorporated that. I've talked about it a few times on the pod, and how we use it. And it all basically centers around making our clients the hero of the story. All right. And so a lot of us think we need to be the hero, right? We're the DJ. I'm here to save the day.
Right.
I'm the photographer. I'm here to solve the problem. And really, that's not what we want. We want our clients to be the hero of the story, but we're more like the mentor, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about this, the Star Wars, and they talk about, Donald Miller talks about this, in Star Wars, who's the hero? It's Luke Skywalker, but who's the one that enables him and gives him the power to see that he's the Force? Yeah. It's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's the idea, is you want to be the Obi-Wan to their Luke,
Exactly. So there's a little nugget for you all. Go Story Branding, the actual book. It's not very long, but it's super powerful. And there's actually a lot of examples out there too of websites and brands that actually incorporate story branding. I would go deep dive into those and see how they're using them as well.
For our website, you lock in and the first thing you see is the bride and groom dancing, laughing, having a good time. They can visually see, oh my gosh, I could see my crowd and me dancing in that setting, right? And so we really try to push that narrative of how would you envision us helping out, complementing your day? What can we bring to help really celebrate you guys, right? And so it's a good way to do it.
Cool.
And yeah, just remembering that you want to see your service from your client's perspective. And that's a good way to kind of start point for the story branding, is kind of figure out how are they receiving your product and just kind of going from there. Now, the last one, I thought this one was interesting, but it was really cool, was the common enemy effect. Now, the common enemy isn't necessarily a person. It's more of the idea of, I think in weddings, the common enemy is traditional weddings, doing cookie cutter. I've noticed that a lot, right? So what you can do is you can say, I don't like playing line dances. Oh, I don't like line dances either. We have a common enemy, right? Or like, oh, I hate doing traditional dances. I would love to do something with our dog or something. Oh, I love creating unique mixes. You know, creating those not common enemies, but commonalities where you can actually relate to them and they feel like they need you at the wedding because they can create that commonality connection, right? So I thought that was so unique on like having a common enemy, but like creating that common thing. Yeah.
That was your mom calling us on the pod there.
Of course. Come on, Mom. Get on Facebook. Watch the stream. Just kidding.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I put here, you want to build a psychological bond with your clients by identifying a shared adversary or challenge. So whatever that may be. Oh, I want to make sure my guests are dancing on the dance floor. Oh, okay, well, we do great crowd reading, right? That's... we both want to have a good dance floor. As a DJ, that's a common enemy, right? Having a good dance floor. And so
that's what we kind of attack that even right on our website. The very first thing you see, like with the bride and groom or the people dancing, it says better DJs, more dancing. Because I think that's one of the common themes that we saw people were coming to us like, what's one of your biggest fears? That nobody will dance.
Yep,
well, when you book a great DJ, guess what? You get everybody dancing, right?
That's
and
true.
So playing on those fears, that's I think a common enemy, so to speak, for a lot of our couples. Someone that is going to play a bunch of music that nobody's going to dance to, right? So
yeah, that was buyer psychology. I thought that was a good one, and
I like it.
It touched on a lot of cool different things.
Yeah, that sounds like a good. I need to go back and look at that seminar. Sounds pretty good.
It's good. They have a lot of cool different things. Let me see. I have a couple more that were just they touched on the buyer psychology. Can't find it right now, but they had a bunch of good ones that were just kind of relevant to sales and like stuff like SOPs. Right? Like we're learning a bunch of stuff like that. For those who don't know what SOPs are, they're sales operating procedures, right?
Our SOPs are standard operating procedures.
And that's what it is. I misspoke. So it's standard operating procedures, right? But like they talk about that extensively on having that so you can go and do other things while your business is being operated.
Right.
Like, and there's so many different stuff. A lot of cool stuff.
Cool.
The next one we're going to talk about today is by a lady named Emily Foster, and it's called How to Build an FAQ Section on Your Website That Sells, right? So I thought that was interesting. I think I didn't even really consider FAQs as like a real moneymaker or like sales machine, but I think it's really a good way to educate your clients as well as filter clients out along the lines of pricing and just trying to give them the information they need without actually having a sales meeting, right? But sometimes it's tough. You can
do FAQs also on your Google My Business profile.
Yes, you can, and that's what's really cool, but it can be controversial because some people want, I need to meet with them. An FAQ can push a client away without me even getting a chance to talk to them, right? And what that means is your FAQs aren't effective enough. You're not doing the right diligence to make sure you're getting the clients that you want, as well as shooing away the ones that don't align with you, right?
Okay.
So yeah, she just did a really good job at talking about how to enhance FAQs, and a lot of couples have no idea what they're doing when planning a wedding, and when they go to your website, the FAQs is a good spot where they can land, and you can use this spot to educate them. So I liked it a lot because it talked about how, like, if people are too confused, they won't buy. They're just gonna
they move on to the next one.
If they can't even navigate through your website, they'll just keep going. So that's another important thing in your website is making sure it's very navigatable. I don't know if that's a word.
Navigatable.
Exactly. But But yeah, some people can also think that it's not my job to educate the customer. But I think it's interesting because I think it's a super smart. Like she talked about how like that's a controversial part, but I thought why would you not want to educate the customer?
Well, and what's funny is in the DJ circle, we talk a lot about educating our customers.
Yeah.
But it's like also there's a fine line. Like, how do you do that without basically sounding too preachy, talking too much?
Yeah.
And I think this FAQ section would be a good way to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the area where you can put some things that will educate your client, about certain things. Maybe why our lighting is important, right? Like some things that you just don't want to do a deep dive in on an initial consult, right? So, and that's the thing. It's like we're trying to do things to keep people's attention and not be too long-winded and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But maybe this is a section, the FAQs, where you can go a little bit deeper into some of these things. And what's nice about the FAQs is most people, I think if you're doing it the right way on your website too, you can have I think it's called an accordion drop, right? Where you got little plus signs. And okay, if I need more information on that question, I can drop down and find it, as opposed to just having this giant long page of tons of text.
Yeah, right. It just has all your questions nice and lined up, and then you can pick the ones you want.
Right.
Another cool thing that you can do and kind of use around FAQs is you can write blogs that are great for SEO. You can kind of talk about that, where you talk about the 5 most common questions I'm asked as a wedding planner, right? Or the best spots to shoot in Albuquerque, right?
Yep.
Those are things you can ask. Galleries, those are really good ways to showcase your spot, as well as what is your photography style. What kind of floral do you make, right? What kind of catering do? You can easily showcase. People eat with their eyes, right? So showcasing that. And then also, we talked about it a little bit before, pricing. Giving them an idea on some basic information, average costs, different things like that, and giving them a good base point.
You know what? Pricing's interesting. We need to have a whole episode just on pricing alone. I think as an industry, we are so scared that like pricing is the biggest, and it's not just our industry, it's everything, right? Nobody wants to talk money.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about price. I don't want my my competition knowing what I'm charging. If I give my price out, it's going to scare these people away, these clients.
We're in a unique space. We're in a unique just kind of market because each of us is unique, and we bring our own personality and persona and value to each event.
Right.
So
and really with DJs, you are, I think many times you're buying the person.
Yeah.
You're not buying the music. That Bruno sound sounds the same exactly what you're playing is what I'm playing.
We're going to play the same edits or whatever. But, there's a lot of markets that have uniqueness in terms of like individuality. Photographers, planners, florists. I keep touching the same ones. Video.
Cake.
Every cake maker's different, right? And so they make unique styles and different things, and so it's a great way to just kind of stand out in that way.
Cool.
Now the next thing they talked about in these FAQs was the 4 C's of like being effective. Now the first C is clarity. You want to focus on questions about the process of what you do. So maybe talking about I thought one that came to my mind was how early do you arrive for events? We always get asked that question. It's pretty common.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, we arrived 2 hours before, right? Or 3 hours before, or whatever. 3 hours for sure.
Right.
Or like a good example that they gave was a lot of couples don't realize that the engagement photo session is included in their overall package. Photographers want that, but they don't even know, the client doesn't even know that they got that in as well. So you could be like, what's included in this package or that package, right? Like different things like that, breaking that down. And then just being clear on the process, pricings, offering as much as possible. Don't be afraid to get somewhat specific, but don't be overly wordy in these like kind of clarity things. So just being clear in your answers. The next one is connection. This kind of falls on the blog posts, but you can also like share unpopular opinions. Do you play line dances? I do not play line dances in my sets. If you wanted to put that in there, right? Or you could just share unpopular opinions. My style is black and white exclusively. I only shoot on film.
I only shoot in caricature. Yeah. Like
I draw everything.
Yeah, everything is in Disney.
Right.
So.
And that may come off as a negative, but I want you to see it as a positive. This is an excellent way for you to show how you stand out from your competitors. There is somebody looking for somebody who shoots an only film. There is somebody who wants no line dances. There's somebody who wants a certain cake style. So when you can put those things out there, they'll actually connect with it, even though it may be controversial. You know what I mean? So
find your niche.
Yeah, exactly. And then also sharing personal takes. You can share stories, different things. We talked about it in the last one on how personal stories can help you connect a little bit more as well. The next one was charm, charisma. This is an interesting one. I thought this is like, it says you can get creative with your FAQs, and I think it's just like a welcome guide. I don't know. This one was, I thought, interesting. I didn't know how to like make it apply too much, but the idea was you want to get the clients pumped to work with you. So you just want to kind of give them some kind of flair. I thought maybe this would be a good spot to show some links to your music mixes. Right? Like, this is my style of music mixes, or like links to the gallery. Charm, charisma could be a reflection of your work or something like that.
Okay.
And then the last one was confidence. So this is just, you want to make sure you're instilling the confidence in your clients, giving them the right questions so that they feel confident that they're hiring a professional. You're asking questions that they didn't even think about in the FAQ section. Now, a lot of the times, those tend to fall into like sales meetings opportunities, right? Like those types of questions where I'll get those in sales or planning meetings where I'm talking with them, and I'll ask them, is champagne going to be passed out for toasts, right? Something like that. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think that, and so we ask about those things so that they can have a next level of expertise and know that they have a professional doing that.
Yeah, it's like asking them the questions they didn't know they needed to ask.
Yes, here was a good one. How many planning meetings will we have? So, yeah, you can ask that. That could be an FAQ. How many planning meetings will we have? We will have 3 planning meetings, 2 planning meetings, however many you want, and it helps them feel confident that you are going to give them the time of day and to have those.
And I think the FAQs are a good opportunity to answer the most common types of questions too, right? Like, so like DJs, what do you wear?
Yeah.
The more general, generic type stuff.
And maybe the questions you don't like answering.
Right.
The stuff you get over and over and you're tired of answering it, and it's, of course, you'll answer them, but might help you if they're already on the FAQ section.
Right.
And then another thing was placement. Make sure you're considering where you're placing your FAQs. We talked about having them on different that was reviews, excuse me. Having them at the bottom of the page, very easily and accessible FAQ section, but often on the first page so that they're not having to click to get to another.
And I hadn't thought about that either. Maybe just having on, if you've got multiple pages throughout your site, having an FAQ, just making 2 or 3 that pertain to that page, right?
Yeah.
If you have an about us, a couple of FAQs at the bottom, maybe on your enhancements page, there's some FAQs. If you've got different packages, some FAQs on the bottom that are particular to those packages.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't thought about that. And most people, I think, we fall into this and just have an FAQ page, which is fine. But yeah, why not put a little, at the bottom of each page or on a sidebar or something like that.
That's why I liked this little section, because I was like, wow, FAQs are kind of slept on. You know what I mean? And it's a good opportunity for you to just think about.
It's the low-hanging fruit.
Of course, it's another thing to think about.
I think
on the top of stuff, but you hit it right on the head. Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, I mean, and I think honestly, the Google My Business to fill out the FAQs and do FAQs in that area is once again low-hanging fruit.
Take one takeaway from any of this: Google My Business. Please, we preach the hell out of it. Do it. Make sure you're taking advantage of that, because
get your profiles.
It's so valuable. It's so valuable. Last few things, design considerations. We talked about that, making sure your questions are nice, easily navigatable, plus signs, touch, they can go right, nice and easy to read. Okay. And then you just want to make sure you're approaching it as an educational standpoint and not as like a sales-driven standpoint. You're not going to make or break a sale from these FAQs, but what they can do is they can give you a step ahead and also use as an efficient time saver for future sales events and different things like that. So it's a great way to help you get more clients and also filter out the ones you don't necessarily want.
Got it.
So yeah, those are the 2 sections I had today.
Cool.
FAQs,
People appreciate that.
and buyer psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were good.
Cool.
I loved the buyer psychology. That was my favorite one out of all of them. So that's why I did that one for sure.
Awesome. Well, go check it out. Once again, that was the
Sweating Sales Summit. The Summit
Sweating Sales
Sweating
Summit?
the Wedding Summit Series Sales Edition. You can check it out. I believe you would have to pay for it now to get access to it because it's only free day of.
Okay.
But look into their next series. They're definitely going to have one on the 11th, and I've signed up for their stuff. And so they do all these different things. I'll talk about it again, including design, marketing, business growth, client experience, and sales, which we talked about today. So the Wedding Summit series, check them out. They do a bunch of really, really cool stuff. And yeah, I was blown away by it. It's cool. Anyway, I got to do it in my PJs.
Whoa.
Pretty cool.
That's the best way.
I liked it because, when you go to a wedding MBA, some of them cross, and it's like lineups at a festival. You're like, I can't go to this one because I got to go to this one, right?
We always split up our crew.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the best way.
You go to this one.
And collab after, cross notes, and all that good stuff. But this one was nice because, you got to do it at your own pace, watch them when you need, take breaks when you need, and then just kind of go through it. Now, I did have to make sure I was done with it by the end of the day, but it was pretty easy.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
And looking
Definitely
forward to
have
the
a part
next
2. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I think it's time, people.
You know it.
Gonna do it
It's time
for
the grab bag.
We totally mistimed that one.
It's not bad.
All right. So this is the grab bag portion of the pod where we go to the internets, mostly TikTok, as you're going to see here. We've grabbed 3 different ones. We're going to listen to them. I'm going to show them to you here on the screen, and then we're going to discuss.
Nice.
So here we go. Here's the first one. Oh, so this one, I don't know if you can see it or not. But it's talking about something that you should do at your wedding. Basically, it's a slip and slide exit.
I see it now.
Yeah. All right. So slip and slide send off.
I like it.
What do you think?
Make sure you have insurance if you're making this happen. I honestly think it's cool. Yeah, I love the idea of doing some kind of slip and slide exit or
Yeah, I thought it was
like
interesting. It
different.
It reminded me of like some of our Los Poblanos weddings, where at the end of the night, you got everybody jumping in the pool.
Yeah,
it's like.
I mean, it's cool. It's iconic. It's different. I think it's super fun. Yeah, having something like that, it could be really fun.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about slip and slides. If I were getting married, I don't think I'd probably be doing it.
I'm down to do it. I'm not down as a vendor to provide it.
Yeah. There's an enhancement for you.
Yeah, exactly. There is an enhancement. I'm down. I think it's so cool. But
we got uplighting, we got tubes and slip and slides.
Somebody gets hurt. That's what I think. If somebody slips,
could you imagine on your wedding day?
What a vibe killer.
Oh man, broke my ankle.
At least the wedding's over.
How'd you break your ankle? I was slip and sliding at the end of the night.
At least that would be the exit,
Oh man. All right, here's the next one.
Do you know that 62% of wedding guests say the most important thing to them at a wedding is the food? This is my series on traditional wedding ideas, and today we're going to be talking about dinner entrees. My name is Laura. I'm your virtual wedding planner. I give couples around the world the knowledge and tools they need to plan their perfect wedding. Instead of serving the same boring wedding entrees, consider adding a personal touch to really wow your guests. You can do this by recreating the meals you and your partner had on your first dates. Not only is this a meal you'll likely love, it'll be delicious, and it will have a great story behind it. You can also find creative ways to tell the story of your first date by adding it to your table numbers or your menu cards. If we would have done this at my wedding, my guests would have had spaghetti carbonara and chicken marsala. What about yours? What did y'all eat on your first date? Let me know in the comments and like and follow for more.
So I thought that one was interesting. I don't know about the first part where the most, what did she say, like 70% of couples. Yeah, I want to know. I want to know where that stat came from. But I like the rest of it. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like once again, you're making your wedding about you, right? And telling a little bit about your story and including that in the food. Mm-hmm. Like I dig that.
I really dig that idea on like telling your story and making it unique that way, right? It's kind of tricky because a lot of these venues you have to go through their food, right? But that's where it could be challenge.
That could be a challenge.
But find ways to personalize it, right?
We had pizza on our first date.
was trying to think of what we had. I don't know.
Actually, I'm trying to think too. Like, I'm trying to think back of like Monica and I, like, we didn't really have like a real like first date.
We did, but I don't remember eating. I remember drinking.
So maybe we incorporate organic food because we organically came together. We were like kind of friends, and then
Yeah, there you go. Organic food. With all that said, I would just like to say, I don't know the stat. I'm not going to give you a ridiculous number, but
throw it out there. Go ahead.
9 times out of 10.
Yes, 9 times out of 10.
Your guests are not going to remember the chicken they ate, but they're going to remember how they felt overall on dancing and the overall experience they had. They're not going to remember that 1 hour. I mean, they could remember that the chicken was bomb.
I mean, if the chicken
better
comes
be
up
immaculate.
after the event,
Yeah.
they're going to remember that chicken.
That's true. That's how you know the food was bomb, because I'm telling you, people really dial in on the experience overall and how they felt. They really don't talk about the food. So if they're talking about the food, it must have been amazing.
I can't remember what we ate at my wedding.
See?
It's probably chicken.
It's fine, and if you want to feed them, I'm a firm believer in feeding them, but...
We got to... This is our first comment.
What do we got?
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Here we go. There it is. Our first meal was probably not that interesting. Milkshakes.
Milkshakes? That could be a fun dessert item. Like milkshakes at the end of the evening.
My wife is our one listener right now.
Oh, she's in here. Nice.
So I put that up on the screen there. You could see it. According to my wife, we had milkshakes.
See, that
cool. Would be kind of cool. But you're right.
I would do a milkshake bar.
In,
think of like a Bloody Mary bar, but milkshakes.
I would. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool. All right.
Nice.
Let's get married again.
There you go. Just for the milkshakes.
Just for the milkshakes. Just for fun. Let's do it.
That's funny.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Last one. Here we go.
Stop putting pricing on your website as a mobile bartender or really any service industry. Why? Because as a consumer, people will look at your pricing. They won't care about the quality of your work. They won't care about all of the money and stuff that goes into it. And they will see the sticker price and they will be shocked and they will automatically log off your website if it's going to be something out of their budget. However, if you can get someone on the phone and actually talk to them and really explain to them why the money is worth what they are going to spend, and that you are a quality service and that you know how to sell yourself, then there's going to be no sticker shocking news to them, because they're going to be like, oh my God, you know what you're talking about. You have insurance. You're a real business. You offer this, that, and the other thing. And yeah, I'm going to book you because you have made me feel important by getting me on the phone, going through your pricing, walking me through it, and you have really shown me why your service is valuable without just sending me a blanket online quote or a blanket like pricing on your website. Now I know exactly why you're worth what you charge.
I get what she's saying. She's not wrong in certain aspects.
Yeah, there's parts of it that maybe, but I think I disagree with her overall.
I disagree. I think what we talk about it all the time is you putting that price point, whatever it may be, it acts as a filter. You're gonna, all of that time of you preaching and selling yourself, and then they're like, you know what? Nah, we're okay. You just wasted all of your time with somebody who was willing to maybe buy it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the idea, is you want to have that price point so that you don't have to go through these unnecessary sales meetings where you have to prove yourself, whereas somebody can see that price point, is already comfortable with it, and then you just have to talk to them on why you are worth that value point. If they're already almost there, and you can tell them, oh, this, and then you start saying, I'm insured, I have all these things. You say all this stuff, she says, it's locked for sure. And that's the difference.
Well, and I think we're giving too much attention, or, we think people are dumb, all right? People have budgets.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. There's people out there that have budgets, and we think that somehow I'm able to convince somebody who really only maybe has legitimately $1,000, $1,500 to spend on their entertainment, that I'm going to bring them up to a $4,000 price point.
Yeah.
Like, and just by talking to them and by feeding them and education, and I'm going to do all this stuff, like, it's not going to happen, and we're wasting a lot of time, and over dealing with that sort
the overall
of a
sales
client,
process takes some time with emails, setting up meetings, having the actual meeting, giving them a week to hold their event, right? Like all of these things take time. And if they're not even halfway there, just because of the price, then it's
and then there's price shoppers that are out there, right? And that's really all they're doing. They're looking for the best deal. I just need some music.
They just want numbers,
And what's your price? Like, that's honestly not our client. Like for us in particular, we're looking for somebody that puts a high priority on the entertainment, and they want to get creative. They want to do a lot of different elements and things that we can provide and want to do, and maybe thinking outside the box. And all of that takes time and usually an elevated price point, right?
Yep.
Those are the types of events that we enjoy doing and look at doing.
And they tend to appreciate us a lot more when they value that level of expertise in whatever field, right? But because we're awesome at what we do and we are at that high level, they appreciate it so much more because they know we're going to be there and deliver for them on their big day.
Yeah, and when we give them that initial, like, this is where your average price tends to fall, right? And for us, usually we send an initial email. Let's just say this is the process. I'm laying it all out there. This is what we do, okay? An inquiry comes in. They fill out our form on our website. We respond back to them. Thanks for reaching out. We have your event date available. When's a good day and time to talk? Yep. And then at the bottom, P.S., here's our initial packages and pricing for you to browse through. So they see that. They're going to click on that. They're going to go through, because everybody wants to know the price. We already know that. Mm-hmm. Let's get down to it. It's
true.
This is what we charge. And we're fully transparent with that. So now when they've gone through that and said, okay, because there's no doubt that people that book our services or don't book our services at times, they get sticker shock. Mm. We are definitely one of the higher priced event companies here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. All right. And so once you've gone through that point and you said and figured out, okay, within our budget, we can either maybe make this happen, or yes, we can definitely make that happen, then we typically get an email back that says, we'd like to hop on a Zoom call. How about Tuesday at 1:00? Boom. Perfect.
Exactly.
Then price is not an issue from that point.
Yep.
We're just talking about you. What do you want to do? Like, what is your event? All the things that you just touched on earlier, right?
Yeah.
What does your event look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like?
Yeah.
Like, what do you imagine? What do you want to do? And then let's make it happen.
Yeah. And that cloud of price isn't hanging over the meeting, right? It's already been discussed. That's already been thought through. And yes, you can get to like the actual sales part of it, and you're not having to really just kind of, okay, well, this is also great, but how much is it, right? Like that's really how a lot of meetings can go sometimes.
No, and I think a lot of newcomers into the industry, and I think this is in any vertical, right? The price conversation is uncomfortable, plain and simple. Like it's like, okay, that all sounds great. How much does it cost? And so, normally it's this much, but for you, I can do it for this. And then it's like you start, it's mind games within yourself, right? I need to win. I need to get them. I need to do anything I can to get this client. I've got them on the phone.
Yeah.
And so I had to start discounting. So once you just get past all that, then you get to talk about all the fun stuff and really the stuff that we want to talk about, and planning the day and getting creative and doing all that stuff. So anyways, I thought that was interesting because she's like, stop putting your pricing online.
It's interesting. I saw everywhere on the Sales Summit series, overall, huge overlining theme was put your pricing out there.
That's what I've been seeing. That's I think been the trend. I mean, you don't have to put your prices like for each package per se, but I'm seeing a lot of average, or this is the range. This is the average range.
Yep.
Give the people something that they can tangibly work with.
Yeah.
Right.
See, and what I think is so interesting for us is our booking rate when they meet with us. You know what I mean?
And which we have been tracking.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we should do an episode later on and talk about the numbers we've been tracking and what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And how,
it's an interesting thing, but it shows us that is actually a process that's working on filtering out the clients you may not necessarily need or want. They're not going to book you anyway.
Right.
And, I met with that client. I talked with them. I did have to explain my value, and I'm pretty good at it. But then a couple days goes by, and they're like, you know what? Let's book them. You know what I mean? And so it's just it's so interesting how once we're able to meet with them after they've seen the pricing,
it's pretty much a lock.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
So, anyways. All right, cool. So that is going to do it for the grab bag portion and actually for our live portion.
Yep.
So thank you to all of our viewers. I think I saw we got up to 3. My wife might have been all 3. She might have her computer, her phone, everything inside. It's spring
Shout out
break.
Monica.
So
Nice.
yes, she's at home with the kids. Maybe Jonas is watching.
Making all the kids watch.
Get on, your dad's
on.
All right. No, but really, we want to thank you all. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this. We're having fun with it.
We're loving it. This is great.
And that is going to do it for the live portion. So we will see you guys next week.
See y'all later.
And if you want to hear what we're going to talk about next, which is going to be really fun, go check it out on Spotify here. I'll probably have it up later on today.
Yep.
So, all right. We'll see you guys. Peace out.
Later. Oh, yeah.